So, with all the girls safely stowed away in a unlocked room and Tan off to go get a drink, I think we are now safe to get back on our journey to find a way out of the mansion and to figure out maybe just what the hell is going on. Sadly, we don't really have any clues right now or any clear idea as to where to go, but we do have enough battery, so let's go ahead and use a psychic vision. Alright, so that was as clear as usual, but I was able to tell the shape of a key and that very familiar shape of the statue in the dining room. We only have to keep our fingers crossed in the hopes that the giant millipedes, which appeared from somewhere, are now no longer residing in the dining room. Still not exactly sure if they were supposed to be some kind of biblical plague or just maybe something we missed on our journey down into the basement, but well, it certainly caught me off guard. We seem safe so far. Nothing trying to kill us. That's always a definite plus. And just like our vision showed, there is now what appears to be a key by the statue. I can only assume that this must have fallen out of one of the pockets of the marauding millipedes. So, with our brand new key, that does give us a new location to explore in the mansion, and well, pretty much at this point, we have almost explored the entire house. Can only assume, though, what could be hiding behind this new locked door, possibly a mad scientist laboratory, or possibly another bathroom. Yes, it's a very bloody but mostly calm linen closet. Nothing immediately jumps out as interesting, except some antique photographs and what appears to be an eyeball in the door. But there are some key items to pick up in here, such as in the bloody armoire. That's right, it's a bedazzler. If you want to put rhinestones or just studs in general on any clothing or fabric, give it a little spice with our brand new bedazzler. Also in here, there's a little basket on the shelf. We do get another brand new key. They are just throwing these at us left and right, which is good, because I do want to finish exploring the mansion and at least, run out of possible places that we can get out of here. Still, the good news is that the next door is really close by. It's right at the end of the hallway here. We've been close to it a few times, but now we get to finally explore inside, and I have a very strong feeling that something important will be behind this door.
何やってんだよ。
そっちこそ何してるんだよ。
俺は見ての通りよ、雨露しのぐためにこういるんだよ。あ、おめえらあれか、昨日来たテレビの連中か。
そうだけど、僕たちはここにいたの知ってたの？
ああ、知ってるよ。
じゃあ閉じ込められたってことも？
閉じ込められた？おめえらも閉じ込められたのか？いや、俺だけだと思ってよ。そこのと中から鍵かかっちゃってるしよ。まあ俺は寝られればいいんだしよ。見つからねえ方が都合がいいからよ。
それ食べてるの？
うめえよ。おめえやるか？
そっか、物置にあった鳩の死骸も。
そうや。
ところで外に出る方法わからないかな？
俺もよ、いろいろこう探したんだけどよ。まあここに通風口があるんだよな。これなんとかなんのかと思ってこういろいろ動かしたんだけどよ、もうびくともしねえんだよ。おめえなんとかなるかよこれ？
簡単には開きそうにないけど、何か道具があれば。
どうだよ、開きそうかい？
ちょっと合いそうな道具を探してみるよ。
So we have learned two very important things. One, our character is definitely fused with the camera and won't put it down. And two, we have found the real mastermind behind all of this terror.
おい、お前どこ行くんだよ？
I can smell the criminal intent off of his body. But more importantly, in the garage here, there isn't too much to explore or find, but underneath the tarp here, there does seem to be a bright, shiny new car, which would probably be great for a getaway, if we had the keys. But I'm guessing as of right now, we do want to get into that vent there, and there is a handy-dandy tool right next to us. We could probably get a little bit more leverage with this crowbar here. Though in all reality, we could probably get a whole lot more leverage if we just put down the damn camera. But, well, let's give it a try. And without warning, we are put into a human-sized CG air vent. And it is pretty dark, but, you know, I get a feeling that we might have something to guide us through this air vent, and you might recall all those shards of paper we've been collecting, and well, wouldn't you know it, this is a crudely drawn map of how we should get through the air vents. Now, you really don't need to find these. You can probably find your way easily enough through the air vent, but I don't know, it does help marginally. And I suppose if you suffer from claustrophobia, this part might be terrifying. Or, I don't know, maybe if there was like a monster attack, maybe a tentacle, maybe a millipede, I don't know, but not to ruin the spookiness. It's a pretty uneventful journey through the air vents. At least there is a brand new and odd sounding sound effect for our camera son slithering through the air vent, but the good news is it's not a terribly long journey, so. And our journey leads us into what appears to be a very small closed off room. Not too much going on in here, though it is, well, it's very dark, in fact, and we can't really see too much. But there does appear to be a lever here, so maybe we can use that.
のレバーは何だろう。
Alright, so now we've gone from a slightly dark room to a slightly lit room. Not too much of a usefulness increase, but maybe there's something else over here we can mess around with.
これは何のスイッチだろう。
Aha! So that looked like the locked doorway in the basement, and through the bars it looks like we can see that open doorway, so somehow or another we managed to get level with the basement from the first floor. And for some reason or another, with all of the relative good design decisions, you know, work that went into the sets and everything, for some reason or another, instead of just immediately cutting back to the garage, they do make you retread back to this exciting vent labyrinth. And I will say there is one piece of danger down in the vents here, and that is, for the most part, if you do reach a dead end, it will just put up a small blockade like a grating. But there is one specific wrong turn you can take that will make you fall into a bottomless pit and die, which is really weird, but I won't be showing it off because it's seriously just you walk face first into darkness and then it's like, ah, and then it's game over. So. Still, we should head to the basement, but more importantly, that hobo mastermind has somehow escaped from the garage, no idea. Maybe he tried the door. Hopefully he is just more interested in food than harassing young girls, but before we leave, there is one last thing of interest to get in here. And it's not that. No, over amongst all these boxes, there is one box in particular that we want to investigate to find another piece of jewelry. Now, we do have almost every piece of jewelry. I think we only have 2 left. So that means we must be getting closer and closer to the end of the game. But yeah, I'm sure that homeless man is going to be completely fine in here. He's not going to be torn apart by some tentacle monster, or I'm sure he's just eating more mystery chicken. Still, I do have to wonder if he is really a homeless person, or I don't know, maybe he's a monster himself. Maybe he's like a were octopus, or maybe he is the former evil, occult-driven Russian ambassador that was also Japanese. I assume at some point we will figure it out. For right now, I am very excited to see what is waiting for us in the basement here. We've already seen there's quite a few occult things down here, but what on earth would they want to hide behind so much security?
Nanda, この部屋は。
So we're left with probably more questions than answers. First of all, well, was this place formerly a Texas steakhouse? But more importantly, we should probably figure out what the hell Karina's body is doing down here, though If we investigate it, we do get a brand new key, though we don't really get any kind of answers as to how she got down here or how she got cleaned up. Also, looks like a pretty fancy chair there in the center. And you might recall from our journey into that room adjacent to the library that we got a few documents. And one thing in particular was a diagram for a very similar looking chair. Still no idea what that chair is used for, but can only assume from the general motif that it's not something positive. And also, amongst all these bones here on the desk, we do find our second to last gem. And I know you all are on pins and needles to find out what happens when we collect all of them, and I assure you that we do take on our super camera form and take down Dr. Eggman. For now, though, we have pretty much covered everything we can find in this room. And you know, that emblem on the key didn't seem super familiar. And if we examine around a bit, looks like it's on the first floor in the kitchen. I guess that's why I probably don't remember it that well. So I guess that's going to be our next destination.
おい。
え？
ちょっと言っておきたいことなんだよ。
何ですか？
音だよ。
音？
もうさっき車庫から聞こえたんだよ。
それなら僕も聞いたような気がする。
いや、しかも一度だけじゃないよ。
え？
So, the most I can infer from that very suspicious remark is that maybe something left the air vent after us, or possibly before us. Maybe if it was something that came out before us, that's how it managed to move Karina's body down into the basement. But I will say it did make me think initially that if we went into the garage to investigate what it could be, it probably would kill us. But as far as I know, there's nothing new in the garage. There's nothing that will kill us. Just another weird, off-putting remark. So, we just have one final key left on our personage, and a lot of questions that will hopefully be answered by whatever is behind this door.
奥山さ